Valorant, the CSGO killer, the offspring of Overwatch and CSGO. It has almost been a year since Valorant has become available to the public, and there has been a lot of excitement built around the game. We have seen a new esports scene become created, and on top of that, a free game for everyone to play. A game that could really change the FPS genre. And it brought up a lot of questions. One of them was, how would this affect CSGO? Hey, it's S2R, and today I'll try and answer that question. Many people thought that this game would really ruin CSGO, and this is no small thing. CSGO is one of the greatest games created, period. The Counter-Strike series is like an empire, and every empire tends to have an end. Well, unless you're Britain. And if a game was to kill a game like this, that's a pretty big deal. So a year later, what has it done? Well, a basic way to look at this is through the player count to see any patterns. Looking at Steam charts, it's evident that CSGO did not see any significant player loss, rather a growth since Valorant's beta was released. Players flocked to play CSGO to sharpen their mechanics in a similar game, and clearly some of these players stayed. I personally was also one of these people. I used to play CSGO before Valorant was announced, but I started playing it a lot more to sharpen my skills. Now I play both games because I find them fun. Part of this is due to the gameplay. The movement speed in Valorant is much lower, and with spawn barriers, so are the rounds. I tend to get bored of Valorant some days, and so I turn to CSGO. CSGO is definitely a faster paced game with more action, so it would suit players who like faster paced games and like rushing B. So there's no player loss, but rather a gain in players. However, this could be contributed to the fact that many people are stuck at home and have turned to gaming in their pastime, so this isn't the best way to look at it. So let's take a look at the top tier competitive scene in CSGO. There is no doubt that the EU region in CSGO dominates. NA has won one major, and that was the famous C9 Boston major in 2018. To this day, I still rewatch that series with my friends. While Team Liquid had a dominant run, the NA scene doesn't really have any promising teams or upcoming talent. This led to Tarek, a part of Evil Geniuses, tweeting that NACS is dead. And he's partly right. This is where Valorant really took something from CSGO. Here's a thread that someone made in the CSGO subreddit stating all the retired players in 2020, and a lot of these players were players who switched to Valorant. Now many of them weren't currently on teams and were considered washed, but there are still some big names like Hiko, Tens, and Nitro all swapping games. In the NA scene, the top talent is all taken by tier 1 orgs. These orgs have started moving to Europe to practice against better teams. NA has been known to have a puggy style gameplay, and with the top teams moving to EU, this is not helping tier 2 teams that can't travel and will probably get destroyed by these tier 1 teams who did travel to Europe. This is why many tier 2 talent players are moving to Valorant where they can have hope. Currently the player count is staying at an all-time numbers, but the competitive scene is taking a hit. But this may take a turn in the near future. During the pandemic, there haven't been any in-person events, and we have yet to see what a Valorant tournament would look like in person. With ESL Pro League viewership numbers increasing, this could mean a higher interest of funding for possible new rosters. This could change the future for both games. So a year later, let's go over what we have seen. Tier 1 pros switching from CS to Valorant? Check. NA CSGO teams going to Europe? Check. Valorant having a competent esports scene? Check. Despite all of these setbacks, which should have decreased CSGO's player count, CSGO has remained resilient. Players still enjoy playing it, and even if NA never wins another major, they will continue to play the game. So there it is, the answer. CSGO has not died.